Welcome back to the Bill Kelly Show on 900 CHML. It is Friday. It is the home stretch, which means one thing. Time to bring in Adam Oldfield, president of FPM Marketing for TechTalk. Sir, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Glad to have you here. Now, we've got a bunch of things I want to get to today, but number one on the list, the number one issue in my life and many other people's life.
Yeah.
Netflix Canada has been the bane of all of our existences because we go to the States and we see our friends there,
right,
and we look on their Netflix and there are things there. The skies open, the clouds part, the heavenly host descends. There are things on there.
That's right, yes. Amazing.
Say, how do we not have this? But it sounds like we may actually be closing the gap a little bit.
Well, we've seen Netflix Canada take a serious interest in Canada. And I think, when they take a look at the numbers, I mean, by volume of population, we know for a fact that U.S. far surpasses the Canadian market. So when you look at the numbers of quality or quantity of programming available in the U.S., that we've been the envy of looking across the border. And we've seen where people have gone out of their way to get VPNs, drive close to the border, hold their laptops up in the air and go, I hope I pick up that U.S. signal. So we've seen this. And now the thing about Canada is that statistically, Canadians watch more programming on Netflix. I guess it's because we have more colder winters. We're not getting California fires. We're not getting all of these issues, so we stay inside.
You make babies or you watch Oranges.
That's right. And our programming is actually getting better, so much so that we now have just over 5,000 options between movies, between TV programs. That's a lot of programming options to pick from.
It's still not enough.
And it's still those shows that you don't get because we don't have Cheers and we don't have some of the classics that Magnum PI. These are somehow more involved in the US than they are in Canada. The thing that I really wanted to stress out is the fact that Netflix is committed to Canadian content in regards to they've spent $3.3 billion in scripted programming. That's more than all the private broadcasters.
Not just for Canada. That's across.
No, that's for Canada. That's for Canada.
Scripted programming just
for Canada, yes.
How can Netflix make any profit if they're putting $3.3 billion into
programming? Well, let's have some faith here. I mean, Canadians do offer some interest. They obviously offer the ability to, pay the monthly fees and otherwise. But I can tell you that the programming is committed. They've got over 800 shows. 800. Now, remember, the $3.3 billion in the scripted TV recording is recorded in Canada, meaning they're filming it in Vancouver, filming it in Toronto. Not necessarily all the broadcasting is being done in Canada. It's being filmed in, meaning the investment in this country is being in the acting, into the production of the programming. So that's a big fit. That's a huge fit in regards to a coup for Canadians. We've got great talent. We have great viewership, as we can see. And just to give an idea, how many does the U.S. have? 5,700 TV shows and movies available.
We have how many?
Just over 5,000. I don't know the exact number.
And I think 4,500 of those involve Adam Sandler.
That's and right now all the Marvel series. Yes. So after 2019, Marvel and Disney will be taking it from Netflix.
It does seem as though we have had the gap closed. It seems like there are definitely fewer things that we are looking at going, okay, why do we not have that here? And most of the big things.
Well, they balance it sometimes. I think we see that on for example, the Star Wars Last Jedi was only available in Canada. That was quite it still hasn't been, it just got released in the US. So we've got the I don't know if that's a Disney promise or they figure, well, Canadians, you're not a big deal, like throw it on, or what the deal was on that. But we've got a lot of the better, I would say, movie options, but the US has a lot more better TV options. So TV programming and sitcoms.
I wonder how much of this, if any, comes from the fact that when you talk about VPNs, now I don't know if anyone knows what a VPN is, but Chrome, if you downloaded Chrome, there used to be a feature you could do where you could make your computer look like it was in a different country.
That's right,
so you could get all the Netflix. You could go to Brazil.
That's right, yes.
they closed that loophole pretty fast.
Well, they had to for a lot of security reasons. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. So that basically hides your IP and then allows you to pick a country, and it more or less hops you to another country using their IP address or a registered
for all intents
IP.
and purposes, your computer was in Russia or Brazil or
That's
Portugal
right,
or
yes.
Spain or wherever.
Well, that's how a lot of hackers actually operate, is they set themselves up as hubs where they connect to other IP addresses, and then they're able to sort of connect as if they're in that country hacking into a computer.
But we heard that there were a lot of, well, we don't know about other countries, but there were a lot of Canadians trying to use these. I'm wondering if when Netflix saw that, sees how much is being done,
right,
how much viewership there is, and then sees how many Canadians are trying to find other ways to get in, if they go, maybe it is worth more investment here.
Well, from a business, remember Netflix is a private operation. They're on a profit scale. So and they're up in their price. I think we can see this coming year. Don't be surprised if we start to see another increase of about $4 per user. And one of the things they're trying to obviously provide is quality content. And I mean, as much as I love the Beachcombers and I love other great Canadian content programming,
we need more Bruno Jerusalem.
I want to see a lot of Degrassi, trust me. But at the same time, I also believe, and many other people, we want a quality program. We want to have those options. And when Netflix is seeing they're trying to hop into the US to provide or buy out that programming options, I mean, really, it was coming down to licensing rights. There was a lot of, I would say, challenges under the CRTC as to what programming's allowed. Remember, they do have rules still under the CRTC under broadcasting, and Netflix is trying to follow those rules. Very hard to do so because they're not really in the same category as our Rogers and Bell. So they're in the process of trying to provide that quality content, and if they're going to get pressure, one, to keep your customers, number two is the fact that you want to be able to grow your customer base, and there's a lot of options there. So I think we'll see a lot more investment from that side.
With Degrassi, there's only so much Drake in a wheelchair you can watch. To be honest,
there's another Drake coming. You just wait.
You are not. I don't believe you are a market investor. But as we wrap this topic up, when you look at Netflix, if you were a stock market guy,
yes,
would you be looking at Netflix then as a company you would want to maybe take a look at?
Oh, absolutely.
As a
growth opportunity, yeah, I would still look at it as a growth opportunity. They're not done. I don't think we've seen the last of Netflix. I think it's the up and coming in regards to the entertainment field. They're going to be the ABC, the Warner Brother Music. You're going to see. I mean, we see it now. An original movie by Netflix, and I don't think this is the end of it. I think we're going to be it's going to be the Google household name of what we would see for entertainment.
I had something happen to me yesterday while I was preparing for the show.
Yeah.
That I know has happened to everybody at one time or another, and it is one of those things that literally makes you want to take off your shoe and throw it through your computer screen. And that is when Windows decides at the moment that you are most busy and under the greatest pressure to finish a project, that is the moment it has to update Windows, and it tells you that you must do it now, and if you can delay it for a certain time, but then eventually it says, no, we have to do it right now. They are changing that, I understand. They will make it so you will not be so enraged at your computer at all times.
Well, Windows just enrages me by default. I mean, I'm not, it doesn't even need to be perfect. I could just look at it, you're just irritating me, Windows. And I mean, Cortana I feel like we're having a fight. But Windows is getting an upgrade, and what they're using is artificial intelligence to better understand when you're on the computer. So, when we actually refresh your screen, when it goes to screen saver, or you put it to sleep, or you're using it, it knows when you're typing, it knows when you're moving a cursor. It's very simple, algorithmic, if you will. Mm-hmm. So Windows is basically realizing people like yourself and millions of others are more or less getting tired of, I'm right in the middle of a deadline, I got to hit this up, and boom, it's time to upgrade. We should do save for later. And all of a sudden it's hide it in the background. And all of a sudden it's like every time you're typing, the keys are going so slow. And now you're like, come on. So Windows has actually put an algorithm that knows when you're on the computer, knows when and you know what? We're creatures of habit. It's hard to believe that, but we all are technically creatures of habit. We go through a series on a regular basis, and the computer, scary enough, is learning our habits. So what it's doing is it's understanding that between 8:45 and 9, you're probably going to the bathroom, having a coffee, but you're not using the computer. This estimated upgrade is going to be about 10 minutes. We're going to start doing it now while you're not there.
Yeah, because the other part of it is the Murphy's Law is the busier you are, the longer the upgrade takes as well. You're now, and it says don't turn it off, or else you'll completely screw up your computer forever. The computer will burst into flames if you turn it off at this point. But it's going to be 38 minutes.
That's
yeah!
While you watch that little bar scrolling and everybody calling you, did you get my email? And you're like, yeah, trying to respond on your Android phone or your Apple phone. Yes.
The artificial intelligence they use, the next step has got to be able to test how hard you're hitting the keys while you're typing. Because that would be another indicator of how stressed you are. Going from Windows
Yes.
to Google. Now, Google Translate is something I've actually used a bunch of times. I think most people know what Google Translate is. It's a program through Google. You can cut and paste something from a different language, plop it in, and it will tell you it's an amazing service. They're taking this now to a different new kind of level.
Well, Google translates over 100 languages, 37 by actual photography, taking a photo of it. And one of the things that just came out is a product that when you're having a conversation, nothing more embarrassing than standing beside someone and they're speaking to you in another language and you're going, hold on, let me get my Google Translate, and you're holding it in your phone.
Just speaking Finnish and you don't know how to make that particular letter.
Could you repeat that, please? Yeah. What they've got is, think of it as
through this diagonal dash. What is
that? Hold on. What is that again? Speak clearly. You're mumbling, like spit the gum out of your mouth. So what you would do is give them a clip and think of it as a little voice clip or a microphone clip. You attach it to your shirt, and what it will do is it will actually take the audio of the person in real time on your phone and translate it. So as you're speaking, think of it as almost like closed captioning on your phone.
So it's coming out as text, though, not as speaking back.
Correct, audio, yeah. It will allow for you to say audio, but it might get a little annoying, but you may be able to understand what you're saying. The best part is, if you were speaking Finnish or whatever the language was, if I responded to you in the same aspect, it will take my voice, translate it, but the audio will now tell you in your language what I'm speaking. So it's like a little microphone that translates, converts, and be able to help you use your, I would say we have a universal translating option now. So when you're in another country, you could, if you want to have a conversation with someone, you could say, clip this to your, to your shirt. And when they do, all of a sudden, as they speak, I can see what you're actually saying. As I respond, you'll understand what I'm saying.
3 things this is going to affect. First of all, the guy who goes out to the pitcher's mound with every Japanese pitcher in Major League Baseball, now the manager just has to carry a phone. To every single translator in the world is out of work.
Yes. Yeah. And well,
3,
close. Yeah.
We're going to have love connections around the world, because now when you see a cute girl or a cute guy in another country and you can't speak their language,
it's going to be able to solve that problem, right?
Convert it for
I don't know if it's 100% perfect, because I work globally with my agency, and I've worked in China, I've worked in French, and I can tell you it is not perfect. And I have said some unfortunate things to a lot of people that I actually step back and go, I apologize more than I do actually communicating the discussion, because it's Google has improved dramatically. And by the way, just a little tip. Anybody out there that uses Google Translate and goes, oh, I need to translate my website to French, do not just copy and paste and throw it in there and think you've got your translation solution. It is not perfect. And many people will be caught.
Nuances of the language.
Extreme. There are so many extreme details in it. So Google is constantly improving. It will give you the broken version of that language. Yeah. Let's just put it that way.
If you've ever watched, not a show that has closed captioning, because they have time to make sure. Watch live news with closed captioning, and there will be things that you will see up there that if you are not aware, if you are new to the language, you will wonder what in the world is going on. Closed captioning is still a relatively easy early technology.
I use voice dictate quite a bit, and I can tell you when I'm even speaking, I think I speak a fantastic verb of English, but every time Google is still an American product, every time I say about, it puts a boat. And I'm like, it's not a boat. It is not a boat. And how many times I've sent that to people?
All right, we have 2 minutes left, and I definitely want to get to this one, because this may be the stupidest product I've ever heard of in my life.
What would that be?
What? We are now at the point where self-driving cars are becoming a thing. We know that there are a lot of cars that will parallel park for you.
Yes.
You now have the option, as I understand, is it in Japan?
Japan,
to have... I don't even understand what this means. Self-driving slippers.
Well, I don't know the culture of slippers. I don't wear a lot of slippers around the house. But in the culture of Japan, a lot of things is that they usually wear slippers. And nothing worse than taking your slippers off and leaving them on the floor as you walk out the door, and your slippers are scattered everywhere. And it's like, okay, put your shoes away. You trip on them. I have teenage daughters. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing I look at. And their shoes are everywhere. I trip on it. And so what happens is Japan came out with their knee Nissan patented a self-parking slipper. Use the technology, incorporate, so when you step out of the slipper, put on your shoes, the slippers will reorganize and get back to the original place in a nice, orderly, neat fashion. And they've actually incorporated this into their chairs. So the chairs will actually, as you get out, you don't have to push them in. The chairs automatically will return back to their spot.
See, now, as stupid as I think this is, because it is unnecessary to the point of being ridiculous.
Yes, lazy, I think is the word we're getting to.
I do see
Yes.
applications for this.
Yeah.
Number one on the list is for parents of toddlers who use Lego.
Yes.
So that you don't get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and step on a Lego piece in your bare feet, which causes you then to crash to the ground in agony and wake up the whole family. That's number one.
You're speaking of experience, I could tell you that, but I can tell you from this perspective,
Dog toys.
watching this happen, if I saw a million Lego pieces all moving into the toy box, I'm going to be frightened. That's a freaky environment nobody wants to be experiencing. I'm just bringing that. So,
if you don't tell them your parents are over and suddenly the Lego pieces
just start moving in direction. Exactly. It's a little creepy situation. I don't know if I'd like that, to be honest with you.
Adam Oldfield, president of FPM Marketing. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.